The second rental property that we bought, we originally lived in as our primary residence, and we got kicked out by the city after only 3 months of living there. So I'll tell you the story of how we got it and what happened. If you didn't watch the first video of our first rental property that we got, go back and watch that one first, and it will make more sense why we bought this one. So we bought this one in the spring of 2020. It was literally right after COVID had started. We almost didn't do it because of COVID, but I talked to a friend that is in real estate and he encouraged us to continue with it. So after our first house, we really wanted a duplex. Where we live, there's a lot of single family residential homes that have a basement apartment. So that's what we bought for our second house. We bought it for $281,275 and put down 5%, which ended up being about $14,000. This one was not a new build like our first one. It was an older home that required some renovations. The basement had a walkout entrance, but it didn't have a kitchen, so we added a kitchen in the basement to make it 2 separate units. We did some renovations on the home for the first month, and then we moved into the basement and we rented out the upstairs. At the time, the amount that we rented the upstairs for was the exact same as our mortgage payment, so we were basically living there for free. After about 3 months of living there, a city worker came knocking at our door as they had suspicion that we were breaking the occupancy law for the city. I was so new to this that I had no idea that that wasn't even a thing, but apparently because it was a residential home, we weren't allowed to have more than 3 unrelated people living there at the same time. Meaning, since my wife and I lived downstairs and there was a couple living upstairs, that technically counted as 4 unrelated people. It was super frustrating because we had just moved in, we had just finished the kitchen downstairs, everything was going good. But they basically told us that we needed to figure it out and only have 3 people living there if we were gonna rent it out. So since we had just signed a year lease with the couple upstairs, I felt way too bad to just kick them out. So we decided to move out of the basement, move out of the house, and rent the basement out to just 1 single person, which would leave only 3 people total in the house. At the time, it was the most frustrating thing in the world, but it ended up working in our favor because it forced us to buy our next house just 3 to 4 months after buying that one. We have kept that house since 2020, and similar to our first house, it has cash flowed about $800 every single month since we started renting it out. I also just wanted to point out that in addition to the down payment on this house, we spent about another $15,000 on renovations and to get it up to where we wanted it to be. So with the down payment and the renovation costs and everything else, we're into that house about 30 grand. So anyways, that's the story of our second rental and why we got kicked out after 3 months of living there. All right, that's all for that one. I'll tell you about the house that we moved into after this one in tomorrow's video. Bye-bye.